Well, hello! It's time for another exciting episode of Pens in Use. This is the show where I talk about the fountain pens and inks I've been using throughout the week. And this week, I'm going to use my Fort Ransom footage. Yes! So it's also going to be a special Pens on the Road. So let's dive into it. If videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And, I'm sorry, what do you think of Fort Ransom? I have nothing else to say. What a cool place. So I look forward to sharing it to you after the pens. So let's take a look at some pens. Alright, so these are the pens and inks I've been using this week from left to right. I have a Lamy 25P, which I fixed earlier this week. I have a Parker Duofolds with the citrine finish, one of the pens that you bought me. The Omas Ojiva, I bought that one. Cross Townsend, another pen that you bought me, and the rest of these I bought. I have a, what the heck is it? Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me try that again. A Quebeco Dia 2, Lamy 2000, Platinum Pocket Pen, which I kerfluffulated. And finally, Senator Cummerbund, without all the political baggage that most senators come with. As always, I will be recording these writing samples in my cognitive surplus seafood-flavored journal. Alright, so the first pen up is this Lamy 25P, which I got with a trade with ODE. I think we're both much more thrilled with what we got in our trade, so good. Has a macrolon cap. It actually has a lot, I think, in common with the... Let's just try dialing down the exposure a little more. There we go. Has a lot in common with the Lamy 2000, but it's its own pen. And one thing I'm noticing, I know I released the video this week, but I actually filmed it last week. This has no leaks around the ears. I'm sort of curious. Oh, God, I just noticed this. So, I did replace the nib a long time ago. It's no longer an extra fine. It's an oblique broad, oblique medium, which led to my problems, but anyway. But yeah, it seems to be holding together very well. And like I said, no leaks. So, Lamy 25P. But this pen has been made a little bit more upmarket because I put an oblique medium nib in it from a Lamy 2000. How does he get all these nibs? Well, you do the fountain pen hobby for a few years, see how many nibs you end up with. The ink in it, I think, is Lamy Blue Black. Why do I think? Because my only clue is the cover of the cap. I don't have a box for it or a label. But that doesn't look like any self-respecting blue to me. So, of course, an oblique nib is kind of fun because it's cut at an angle like this. So you actually write with them kind of rotated. So my tests, this test should show at least a little bit of oblique character. And it does. Yeah. So I do sometimes this in my reviews just to check out the oblique character. I mean, it's an oblique medium. It's not as obvious. One of these days I've got an oblique broad I've got to show you, but yeah, kind of fun. My next pen is this beautiful, beautiful Parker Duofold with the citrine finish. It's a Parker International, and one of these days, real soon, I plan to film a Parker video. So I've got some Parker Duofolds, and I'm going to bring some lookalikes along for the ride. This has just a plain medium nib. And the ink in it is Ferris wheel press buttered popcorn. This is a yellow that I like. I've been kind of disappointed with most of the offerings of theirs that I've tried, to be honest. But this is one I do like. It's writing a little dark here because the pen hasn't been used in 2 or 3 days. But, yeah, this is a usable yellow. Too many yellows are just not usable. And what I was finding with too many Ferris wheel press inks is they were just not usable because they had, well, they were just too pale. And what do you do with a pale ink? You know, you can't write with it because you can't read what you're writing, and neither can anybody else. So they can be fun for art. And while I do art occasionally, I am not an artist, and I don't do it very often. So, there you go. All right. My next pen is this Omas Ojiva. This is a company that's no longer in business, although others are trying to pick up the slack. This has a medium extra flexibile nib, and the ink in it is an Omas Gray. I picked up, well, both the ink and the pen right after Omas went out of business, but before it caught up with anybody that, oh, let's jack up the prices. So I got it actually on a slightly clearance price. Wasn't exactly the nib or finish I wanted, but it has really grown on me to become one of my favorite pens. Actually, a viewer loaned me hers to do a video. I had to send it back, and this is the same nib and finish that she loaned me, even though they weren't, my favorite. But, I honestly probably wouldn't own this pen either if she hadn't loaned those to me, so thank you, I think. All right, video of a few weeks ago, filmed a few months ago. I have this cross Townsend with the Ferrari finish. Ferrari is apparently a racing car that's, I think it's Italian. It's either Italian or German. Porsche and a Ferrari, one of them's Italian, one's German. I want to say Ferrari sounds like an Italian name, but I could have that wrong. I guess there was a very, very brief period of time in my life when I might have cared about sports cars, but that was such a brief time in my life that I couldn't tell you. And, you give me as much money as I want to buy whatever car I want. Yeah, I'll replace the Camry with something nicer, but it won't be a Ferrari or a Porsche. That's just not my type of car. So this ink is Sailor Jentle Grenade. This is one of 3 inks in this video today that you currently cannot buy, except possibly on the used or overstock market. Sailor every so often re-releases these inks, this Sailor Jentle series, but right now they are not available from Sailor. My next pen is a Quebeco Dia 2. Just a kind of Quebeco's luxury pen. I'm, looking at their lineup right now, I'm kind of surprised they haven't done something more with this particular model, but I've seen a few models that I really like disappear from different brands. Hello Platinum with your president. But I think it's a very good one, and I think they could do something interesting with it. This has a broad nib in it, and the ink in it is Private Reserve. Shoreline Gold. which I suppose is meant to be evocative of either a sunrise or a sunset along the shore, I don't know, of either a lake or an ocean somewhere. I've been to the ocean as an adult, but not, sunrise or sunset, for whatever that's worth. I've been to the ocean as a child for sunrise and sunset. I want to say it was at Rehoboth Beach, but I might have that wrong. But I was a very young child then. I remember it, but, honestly, the three biggest things that stick in my memory. I remember finding a jellyfish. My family it was marked with one of my toys that I'd brought to play with in the sand, and I was kind of mad because then I saw the waves kind of trying to wash my toy away. I remember always had to wash off after we went to the beach because of the salt water and sand. And I remember spilling a bucket of water on my grandmother's bed because they had a camper and spilled it on the bed in her camper. So, yeah. All right, so this is my Lamy 2000, which I've been using daily. I've refilled ink a few times since the new year. Well, I should say 2, probably. So Lamy 2000 has a fine point nib, and the ink in it is Pelikan 4001 Brilliant Black, which actually makes me think of a few other things I remember from that time. I think it was Rehoboth Beach, but like I said, I could be wrong. I just know it was along the Atlantic Ocean. I remember somebody catching a horseshoe crab, because I'd never seen anything like that before. I remember, I don't know if they're saltwater marshes, but they had really high reeds in them. And I just remember that there were a lot of people there. All right, so that's my Lamy 2000. My Kaweco pocket pen. I actually had a viewer contact me and say that he can't get his platinum cartridges to fit in this. I was surprised, and I honestly had nothing to offer him. So if any of you have some advice, I have no idea why a platinum cartridge would not fit in this pen unless they have had several different models of the pen and several different types of cartridge. I just, the most I could come up with is maybe it had a part from a different brand of pen. So the ink in mine is Private Reserve. Ebony Purple. All right, so we'll do a little this way. We'll do a little this way. And then we'll look, it's not oblique, so it doesn't show that. It does show a very, very slight stubby character. And my last pen, so I said I have 3 inks that have been discontinued. My last pen has the 3rd one. So I bring you a Senator without all the politics. I call it Senator Cummerbund because it looks like it's wearing a cummerbund. And it's very hard to find model names for these pens. This nib is not a Senator nib. It's one of those vintage Bach nibs that I like. So this pen is probably from the 60s or 70s. And you see why I like these nibs so much. And the ink in it is Sailor, Jentle, Epinard, which is a French term for spinach. And I just think this ink is absolutely beautiful. I love this ink. In fact, I put it in one of my all-time favorite bottles because I really hate these shallow sailor bottles. Yeah, I put it in a Pilot 70mm bottle, which I showed a while back when I did my behind the scenes, but it's this bottle. It's got a nice insert and holds, well, 70mm of ink. So, yeah, it got a place of respect on my shelf. I will probably wait till I use that up, and then I'll clean it and then fill it with another bottle or two of this, because I may or may not have several bottles of this in reserve. Just what a nice ink. Alright, so those are the pens and inks I've been using this week. A couple fun ones. So this week has seen me walking to school in temperatures like minus 22 degrees. Oh, and I walked home one day, Tuesday actually, and it looked like this. Yeah, that was a great walk home. My car is still buried under all that drifted snow. I am waiting till Saturday when it warms up enough that I'm going to actually go out and dig it out, because I just thought, nope, and I can walk over the snowdrift that the car is buried under without sinking in, so that's going to be a fun one to dig out. So I just decided, I've been sitting on this Fort Ransom footage that I took last fall in October. And you know what? This is the week to use it. So I also met the Moto Lisa in Fort Ransom. So I'll include that footage even though I've shared it before. So let's take a look at Fort Ransom in a not so cold part of the year. Fort Ransom is just down the hill, very steep hill, from the original fort built in 1867, and a town of about 70 people nowadays. You can see an old watermill. There's actually a ski slope there. The Cheyenne River runs through Fort Ransom, and at times it feels like you're either in the Rockies or possibly in Pennsylvania. It was just a very cool setting that I enjoyed very much, and I definitely want to go back and do a better video. So one of the things I noticed in Fort Ransom here is we have the school. I kind of doubt it's still used as a school. Excuse me. But here we go. Huh? Maybe. Over here, got a sign. Could use a little paint. And another sign. And an old-fashioned school bell. And you have to ring the buzzer for entrance. And fencing over the windows. And they've got a little playground. So it could be an elementary school that's still open. Yeah, all the windows on this side are covered with fencing. Must be because of the playground. And then across the street, we've got a church. The Standing Rock Lutheran Church, which is interesting because there's a Standing Rock reservation elsewhere in North Dakota. I don't think there's a connection, but you never know. Kind of a big church, has services at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, which is a little different. Very impressive, though. Having this gimbal is kind of fun. I don't know, separate entrances for something. 2 steeples. Fun stained glass. What do we got here? It's a Norwegian evangelical church. So,
no pastor, church, or cemetery in 1881. So they designed and built it. And then 1898 they added the steeple with the bell. Must be that one. So this over here, maybe this is the original part? I don't know. But we got information about the inside. So it looks like it's pretty nice. If you're, into churches. And it has a pretty sizable parking area, which I don't know if they share it with the school over there, but either they have a large congregation or we're just, I don't know. Yeah, right at the edge of Fort Ransom, you're looking at Pyramid Hill, which has a Viking statue that was put up there in 1972, 14 feet tall, made out of steel and fiberglass. And leans backward because of the wind. Let's see if I can... No, that's as good as we're going to get. I'm not climbing up there. Apparently there's some debate about this Pyramid Hill. Some local people think it was made, it was man-made. And then geologists say, no, that's natural. But we're in Fort Ransom. Thinking I'm going to have time to wander over to Lisbon, but I want to do part of my Pens on the Road in Fort Ransom. So I'm going to, drive around, scout the thing first. This town is located very far from railroad, never had a grain elevator, and yet it survived. And it's still here. Way back in 1920, it had 200 people, had stores, grain and lumber mills, a harness shop, a bank, restaurant, doctor's office, post office, 2 churches, and a pool hall. And so we'll see what's here. So yeah, it survives partly because of its proximity to Fort Ransom State Park, but it also survives because there's a lot there. There are a surprising number of businesses. You can buy gas in this town. There's a very nice restaurant, bar. There are things here, and at the same time very quiet town, aside from the tourism. But I think this isn't a tourist town like Medora, but definitely a town that relies on visitors, and definitely has its own unique charm, shall we say. I really enjoyed it, and I want to go back because I've read more and more since I left there, and I want to see some of those things I neglected before. So here we got I guess a post office. Post office for Ransom, North Dakota. Oops. Not a very big post office. Got a restaurant. More fun places. Not super busy. So down the street we do have a gas pump. On the other side of the street we've got a Camry and a Thor's bar, something like that. Some other places. Very old gas pump. I have the feeling that there's not a store attached. And that looks like almost didn't film this, but it's a hall, not a house. Missed that. Kind of a nice porch and yard. It's a neat looking town. Got Deb's Upholstery. We've got firewood for $6 a bundle. I'm going to do a close-up of this because Pop, the squirrel's going to laugh. So we got all firewood. It's locally grown. So $6 a bundle. So Fort Ransom State Park. One of the things I had to cut today because of my adventures this morning, Deb's upholstery. I could use her actually. My couch and, well, all my furniture's falling apart. And this apparently is a bed and breakfast. Rockstead's River Inn. They have a yurt available. And apparently the children around here don't move very fast. Because it says the children here are slow. So that must be kind of boring. It might be slow, but they do have a nice little park here. Playground over there. So they do their best with what they have. Trying to decide if that's a church back there, but that looks like a house. A lot of the houses are older too, which is fun. So I wonder if there's any history to that old green building. Could be new, could be old, I don't know. I'm remembering this better now. Rockstead's River Inn. You can stay in the yurt. They've got some cottages, and then of course just regular rooms. Just peek up Main Street from the other direction. And I see a white building. Oh no, I don't, that's a house. Thought I saw a cool building up there. I don't know what the wagon wheel is, but it's got stained glass. And then we got this. Okay, this is kind of fun. Side of Thor's Bar. With North Dakota law, I don't know if they serve alcohol out there. There's Thor. But, kind of fun. I guess in a town of 100 people, you don't need much of a fire department. Just another quick look down Main Street. A beautiful Camry. It's going to have 4 new tires tomorrow. We're going to walk this way because I'm still poking around. It's not that easy to tell here because it's well camouflaged. But we've got the Cheyenne Ver here. No, pretty slow moving here. That looks like baseball field over there. And more stuff. You wouldn't believe you're in North Dakota right now. I mean, this looks like a town in Pennsylvania. So one thing I'm noticing, unlike some of the other towns I visited on this trip, all the streets in this one seem to be paved. So I definitely understand why the Moto Lisa wanted me to meet her there. I'll share that meeting here, her brief intro. She has her own Instagram channel. I will share the link in the video description. She's one of North Dakota's, what'd she say, 4 or 5 fountain pen stars. So she's more Instagram, I'm more YouTube, but you know what we share is a love of a hobby, and apparently now we share the love of a very cool little town in southeastern North Dakota. It is just a beautiful place, and if it hadn't been for her, who knows if I would have found it. So I'm very grateful to her. She is also the reason I finally know the way around the correct way around the Cheyenne River Scenic Byway, so I will put a few links, both correct and incorrect, to previous expeditions on the Scenic Byway, and look forward to that in driving video footage down the road. So we'll close this off with a brief introduction from the Moto Lisa. And I am here in Fort Ransom with the Moto Lisa, one of North Dakota's fountain pen superstars.
Because there's 5 of us total, I've decided. No.
That's right. So it's been fun to meet you.
Yes, a very enjoyable time. I'm happy that Jason took a moment to come down and hang out with me in our tiny little town.